Satnam. This is so exciting for me that I get to be here with you for as long as I want. Satnam. 8 hours we can be together. Isn't that wonderful? So welcome to the Moon Centers. We're going to talk about the Moon Centers. We're going to play with them. And why is this so important? Because they're so healing. Our emotions are really amazing, amazing things, right? They're notifications of our soul. But as soon as they get hooked into our story, then they take us wherever they want to take us. And we are no longer working with our emotions. We are no longer in the flow of our emotions. We are slaves to our emotions, right? So the beautiful thing about the Moon Centers, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about it to start with, is it was a secret science, along with Kundalini Yoga and Kabbalah and many other things that are coming back now and being revealed to the masses. And why it's so important to reveal them is because they're like things we should be learning in first and second and third grade, right? Men, women, boys, girls, everybody should know about these because it's like a roadmap for the inner workings of the female psyche. Do you want to know that, men? Women, do you want your men to know that? And do you want to know that about yourself? Do you want that roadmap that goes, oh my God, look at this? And here I thought I was crazy, but truly it was just being in the challenged state of this that I didn't get the goodies. If somebody said to you, look, if you do this, you can get all these gifts. And if you do this, you're going to be drug around by your hair and your emotions, and you're going to be having a really challenging time. Consciously, we know which one we would choose. And yet we find ourselves in these situations that are like, I feel like this today, right? So the beautiful thing with the moon is, what does it do? It goes through the 12 astrological signs, and it goes through them in about 2.5-day cycles. It's a 28-day cycle. There's 12 astrological signs. Do the math. The same thing, your 11 moon centers have a little bit longer time in each one than 2.5 days, actually, even though I said 2.5 days in the book. Because it's like if we did like 2 3/4 days, you'd be thinking, oh my God, no. And 2.5 days is like, you may find some days you feel like almost 3 that you're in one center. Okay. But knowing these centers and understanding the gifts of them and tools, I want you to have a toolkit. Do you want a toolkit? Do you want to have a toolkit to work with your inner emotions? So these moon centers, I'm going to read them to you. I'm going to tell you what they are. And then I'm going to tell you, or share with you, really, not tell you, how you get to work with them, right? And how they are different for everyone. The pattern that they move through, you get to figure out. And I'm going to tell you ways that you can do that the most easily. Are you ready for that? Now, what makes me, why should you believe what I'm telling you about this at all? Because I spent, well, as long as Yogi Bhajan was here. I met him literally after he came to the States. I met him a few months after he came to the States. So I was with him. I traveled with him. I was with him all summer. I was with him many times a year in all different places, sitting around listening to him, going to classes with him, but sitting around in living rooms and getting a tremendous amount of wisdom that I really want to pass on to you. So that's what qualifies me to share these with you, because all of a sudden one day I woke up and I was like, this is really important. These little moon centers that he told us about, at women's camp so many years ago. And even though he's not in his body anymore, he still gives me orders. And one of those orders was to write this book on the moon centers. He said, this has got to be done. Do it. And I understand that he used to give orders to a lot of people with the same thing. So I just said, okay, he's probably giving this order to like 10 people. But I kept hearing, just do it. So I did. And I'll tell you that in doing this and teaching this, it has become so wonderful. And watching the transformation in women and getting feedback from them, I love it. So I'm going to give you a chance to go deeper with this. Because we only have an hour. I mean, an hour is like enough to like start the dance. It's like, gets us big. Now, if you signed up for the 11 days of the meditations, you've got another toolkit that's really great. If you've gotten the Moon Center program, then you've got some more, tools. But I'm going to give you a way to go even deeper. Are you ready for that? All right, so let's talk about these fabulous centers, yes? There's 11 of them. And what I'd like to do first is have you close your eyes, unless you're watching this while you're driving, which you shouldn't be doing anyway. In a teleseminar, I can say, okay, you're driving, but if you're watching this, then I don't want you to be doing anything else, right? Just watch it. And so I'm going to read. I want you to close your eyes just so that you can hear them, right, inside of yourself in a really big and juicy way, that you can take them in intuitively, because these eyes look, this eye sees. So I want this eye and this whole part of your being to listen, because what is the biggest thing in life that we really all want? 2 things. We want to be seen, 3, acknowledged, and we want to feel like we belong. So I want you to belong. I want these centers to belong to you. I want them to come back like you're calling them back into you. Yes? All right. So close those beautiful eyes and look through that one eye. The first center is your hairline. You're going to find out that these centers are very sexy, right? The first one is your hairline. In the really positive aspect of it, you're a visionary. You get it. In the challenged aspect, you feel very paranoid. What does paranoid mean? It means that you don't have the vision, that you feel contracted, that you feel things are coming at you. Your magnetic field is not charged. Your intuition's not on. You don't see it all, right? So you're contracted and you're fearful. When your magnetic field is bright and big and your intuition's on, there's no space for paranoia, because you're in a state of knowing. You're in a state of claiming your visions, right? And the neutral state is that you can share the visions with whomever they belong to. Because a lot of times you'll get things that come to you for someone else, and you just deliver it. As Yogi Bhajan used to say, just be the mailman or the mail woman, right? Deliver it. Just think about what your mailman does, right? Or mail woman. They don't stand there and demand that you read the mail, that you act on it, that you pay that bill right then. They don't do any of that. They just deliver, right? Okay, the next one is your eyebrows. Your eyebrows in the positive are about healing dreams. And oh my goodness, we've done so much with our eyebrows in life. We pluck them, we do all sorts of things to them. We dye them, we play with them. And in the challenge, it's that you can go into fantasies and illusions really fast, okay? One very funny thing that Yogi Bhajan said about this is, he said, when you're in your challenge of your eyebrows, a man or anyone can build a castle, or they can build a business, a fantasy castle or a fantasy business, and you move in, right? Just what I wanted. And you don't do the intuitive background checks or the physical background checks on it. You just go with the fantasy, right? And the neutral aspect of your eyebrows is what? You actually understand that your dreams are really, really powerful. And again, you have the capacity to share them, to utilize them for the good of all. All right, what's next? Your cheeks. We put color on our cheeks. We highlight our cheeks. It's like, I go to this dance class and this one woman, every time she sees me, has a fit about my cheeks. She's like, you're the cheek one. And I'm like, what does that even mean? But we do have a whole thing about cheeks. What do we love to do with children? Pinch them. Oh my God, pinch their cheeks and just like, oh, you're so cute, My children used to run from, Indians are really, really, not American Indians, but Indians really love to pinch children's cheeks. So you don't need to pinch your cheeks. You don't need to put rouge on your cheeks. What you need to understand is the gift of your cheeks, right? The gift is you in the positive, amazing. You are on it. You can promote anything. You are a PR maven, all right? And in the challenge, you're out of control flirting. How do those go together, right? Out of control flirting means, tell me I'm yummy, tell me I'm beautiful, tell me, I'm worthwhile, as opposed to seeing the worth in something and saying, I can help you get this out there, right? That's what PR does. Sees the value or the supposed value or the proposed value and figures out how to get it out there. Yeah. Flirting means I need you to tell me I have value. And the beautiful thing with the neutral part of it is you're radiant, right? When your cheeks have color and light without you putting it on there, you're radiant. I saw this makeup ad years ago and they said, it will give you radiance, it's luminescent. And I thought, oh my God, you can't fake radiance. But we love to try to have it no matter what. But I'm gonna give you tools to actually get radiance, real radiance that you don't have to apply from the outside and hope that you fake people out. Okay, your lips. In the positive, you wanna talk. And this is like men are just kind of like la, 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 la. You get really chatty, chatty, chatty. Great time to be around your girlfriends and just talk about everything you want to talk about, right? It's just an extremely chatty time. Great time in business to plan a talk. Like if you have, something upcoming where you get a chance to give a speech and it's possible for you to pick a date, this is the time you want to do it because you will be so in there. And what happens when you're in the challenge is you get very sharp tongue. When you say things, it's like, well, come on, we all know that, right? As women, we know we have the capacity to slice and dice people, and we have the capacity to uplift them. So the beauty of the neutral is that you use your words to uplift and elevate everyone around you. Okay. Your earlobes, sexy, yummy earlobes, right? What are they about? They are about your values in life, what you value. And have you noticed that as we get older in life, our values change? I mean, your basic foundation of what's important to you may or may not change, but the values that you hold, in your 20s and 30s, maybe your 40s, you collect stuff. In your 50s and 60s, you want to start getting rid of stuff. I mean, it's like you're looking around, you're like going, how did I get all this stuff? That's just on a physical plane. But your values change. What's really important to you, your legacy becomes more important as you get older, meaning what you leave behind, your vapor trail. Okay, so what happens when you're not connected to your values? You get very self-deprecating. You don't trust your self-worth. We've heard so much about self-worth, but the deprecation of how we speak to ourselves internally and how we attract and allow others to speak to us. And we talked about, your empowered values are the neutral aspect. And what does that mean? That you actually live your values and that it makes everything around you a better place because you are truly living as you in the values that you hold dear and you're affecting everyone around you with that. Okay, nape of the neck. Romance. What happens? I mean, have you ever had somebody like just, kiss the back of your neck or brush their lips against the back of your neck? It's like, okay, hello. Or just speak into the back of your neck. It's the bone, that axis atlas that people say, you don't want to burn that bone when you cremate, or, the burying. I just heard the other day that that's the bone that Jews say that you need to come back into your body. I'm not promoting that, by the way, but it's a very, very sensitive place in the body. And it's also a very connective place between the head and the heart, the rest of the body, the nape of your neck. So you're very affected by people who, if somebody has a wraparound voice or they speak to you really encompassing, you're kind of like, oh, yes, right? And what happens when you're, not connected to that? You just feel like you can't communicate. You can't, it's like, no, just let me alone, right? You don't want to talk to anybody. It's the contraction of this, right? Let me alone is this. What happens to the back of your neck when you do that? It's like it's very protective. This comes up around it, tries to protect it. Yes? And the neutral is you get to speak from your heart. And when you speak from your heart, it's incredibly romantic. It's incredibly connected because you get to speak from inside of. Remember Yogi Bhajan telling us, he said, I am the last of the Piscean teachers, meaning all of those yogis that came over at that time. He said, but you are Aquarian teachers. I can teach from above. You have to teach from within, okay? So that's what I want you to experience. They're like, oh, yes. That when you teach, it's not, I know more than you do. It's, I want to wake these things up in you so you have the goodies. Are you ready for that? That's what we want. All right. The nipples, your nipples, right? You have an arc line. Women have an extra arc line here. And that arc line is nipple to nipple. So in what does your nipples do? That arc line, it's over your heart. When you're in the positive of this one, you tend to be overgiving. Like, what can I do for you? Can I take care of you? Who can I, and you can get really exhausted because it's that, all right? In the challenged aspect is like, you feel like worthless. You have nothing to give. You can't see yourself. You can't see the vastness of who you are and what you can give. And in the neutral, you actually understand and live in compassion. And we know that compassion is like, sympathy is really nice. Empathy means you feel for somebody, but compassion is the state where you get to experience the other, but you don't have to go into whatever their drama or trauma is. You encompass them and you feel the capacity of who they are and you know how to relate to them. All right. Nipples. Next one is your navel or your belly button. Belly button is just kind of a fun way of saying it, isn't it? It is the button that we have in our belly. So this is a place, what? Strength. It's just a place of like, you have a lot of physical energy. This is where you were attached to your mother, right? Unless you were an alien and then you have a fake one. But it's where you can actually, this is called the hada, right? The belly, the fire in the belly, right? That whole consciousness. It's really, hada is where finite and infinite come together. And the navel is the place of that. It's the birth of that aspect of your being, how you connect. So you can connect to the world through here. You can connect to all of infinity through here. Allow that to be a divine connective place. And it gives you tremendous physical energy when you have that, because you're not doing it by yourself. You're allowing it to come through you, to you. And it's like, yes. So when we do, meditations like hada, 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 you're pumping your navel. Why? So that you experience that capacity to allow that sound current to own that aspect of you. And I promise you, you will get a lot of energy from doing that. All right. So what happens in the challenged aspect of this is you feel very unstable, are very exhausted, very like, just can't do this, can't show up, can't, be present in my life, don't want to, all of those things we just go, no, when we feel like having a fit and just not showing up. What we need to really do is adjust the navel, adjust the physical energy, get to that place where this is alive. And one of the things you can do that's so simple is practice speaking from there. You ever notice like some people talk from up here and you just want to say, drop it down, get inside of your navel. Every singer will tell you, you've got to expand the diaphragm. And when you do that, it affects your navel. But getting inside of yourself and speaking from your navel is one of the fastest ways to change it. And you can also walk around and nobody knows if you're pumping your navel. You can walk around and pump your navel. They don't have any idea what you're doing, but you do, and you can get energy by just doing that. Isn't that fun? Just I can just walk around pumping my navel. You can say hada inside of yourself, which means that finite and infinite connected. Just quietly, silently, just pump your navel. Nobody knows. It's really important to meditate every morning to set the foundation of your life. Super important. How you take that out into your day is even more important. How you live that meditation during your day. And sometimes it doesn't sustain you past like 15 minutes. So things like this that you can do while you're doing other things, priceless, right? To get you back into the positive, or even better yet, the neutral, which is the power to show up. The power to really show up, and it's the first law. Show up, do the work, and don't be attached to the results. But before you can ever do the other two, you got to show up. Yeah? And it's like sometimes, don't want to show up. Don't want to do that, right? We have those times. Everybody has those times. It's how to make them like, 1 minute as opposed to like forever and ever and ever. So that's the deal. I remember the Dalai Lama, somebody said, like, do you ever get angry? And he laughed. And, everybody had different ideas of what he said when he laughed. And some of them were like, oh, really? Okay. And he said, yes, of course. It's only how fast you get back to you, the essence of you, right? So same thing with this. Same thing with all of these challenged aspects. It's not like, oh no, I don't want to be there. It's like, okay, I'm in this funk. How do I get out of it? I've got a toolkit. That's what you're getting here. So I'm giving you little tips and tools. Okay, your inner thighs. Our inner thighs are a place that they're really kind of sensitive and they don't get a lot of exposure unless you're wearing short shorts. Even then, part of them is like, hidden. So they're very interesting, and a lot of nerves run through there. So it's a very sensitive place. It's also when you really want to work on your core energy or you want to work on root lock, you need to learn how to pull the thighs together, like really pull them towards each other. And that will help you to really pull up on root lock. And root lock is that capacity to create a container that doesn't have holes and doesn't let all the energy just go out the lower chakras, right? So that's what root lock is, but your inner thighs are the first place. Pulling your feet together, pulling inner thighs together. So even when you're sitting at work, they say Kegels, like work on Kegels, even at stop signs and stoplights. But if you work on pulling your inner thighs together, you'll get a beyond Kegel, you'll get root lock, and you'll get to really pull this energy up to your navel and connect it into that hara, right? So what are your inner thighs about? Your inner thighs are about you are highly organized. It's a tremendous inner strength. It's like, yes, it's a time where you just feel like, oh, I can clean up this drawer. I can clean up my entire house. I can go out and hit the garage. I can organize the world. Sometimes you just feel like that. It's a great day. If you have an event that you're going to put on, once you get your chart, and I'm going to tell you how you can do that, you'll actually look at that and you go, this is when, I'm going to be in my inner thighs. This is when we want to have this event because I can totally be so organized in the midst of it. You're doing a fundraiser, you're whatever. Inner thighs, perfect time. Okay. And the thing I want you to see about this is if you see these ahead of time, you can plan things. Like if you have your inner thighs on a Saturday, oh my goodness, you can have yard sales. You can, just whatever you need to organize and clean up. If it's during the week, use it. Use it to reorganize your team, your group at work. Use it to reorganize yourself. It can be your day that you have to really spend at least some time reorganizing files and whatever it is that needs to be reorganized that would create a much more elevated platform for your life. When, the challenged aspect, this is a no-brainer. You feel really disorganized. Can't find your keys, you lose this, you walk there, you can't believe you've just, done this. It's like, and you're backtracking all the time. So it's a great time to just stop and, do a few things where you pull your inner thighs. There's wonderful things where you can just take your fist and just, go up and down from your pubic bone right down to your thighs and just wake that whole area up and breathe into it. Just, you can do 4-part breath with it, just hit your inner thighs. You can do this in the bathroom. You can do it at your desk. You can do it in your car. Just do that for like 90 seconds, and it will totally change the energy of your inner thighs. All right. Now, what happens is the neutral is how you use the positive aspect to bring it into life, to bring it into everything in your soul. This is like creative strength. Use your organization for creative strength to, create what you need as a platform in whatever aspect of your life you need it. Okay. Number 10, getting sexier all the time. Your clitoris. It's like, really, this is a moon center? Yes, and why not? It's an amazing, amazing part of us. And in this is going to sound really kind of strange, and I'm not talking about have fabulous, orgies. You need to socialize. So this is a great time when you're in your positive to throw a party. It's a great time to go out to dinner with friends. It's a great time. It's not necessarily a movie. It's like, go out and do things. Go to fundraisers. Do things that take you out and really allow you to be, social and empowered in that socialness. When you're feeling challenged, it's like cliquish, clannish. You don't want to be with anybody you don't know. Men, fabulous time to send your women to be with their friends. Okay, we're going to go back and give a few tips for men after this too, okay? In the neutral aspect, you're very charming and have great leadership potential. So it's a great time to be out in the world and really work with whatever is important, whatever your cause, your passion, your legacy is in the world, right? Okay. So it sounds like it should be a really sexy time, but it's really sexy with the whole planet. I remember Yogi Bhajan telling us, you all have such a limited idea of sex. You think it's this thing with one other person. Try having sex with God. Try having sex with the whole universe. So just think of the clitoris like this. It's like, I get to go out and with my whole being socialize really powerfully and lead people from a very radiant, empowered place where other people feel empowered just by being around me. The membranes of your vagina. This one is super, super, super important. And women, I'm going to tell you, this is like a Geiger counter for you. This is that flashing light, that says, do not let this in. It talks to you. The membranes of your vagina speak to you. And look back in your life and see how many times you have not paid attention to the membranes of your vagina and you have had sex with people you shouldn't have had sex with. And afterwards you feel funky, dirty. Why did I do that? Because you didn't listen. They are talkative. They tell you. They have a whole agenda to support you. And it's very energetic and it's very connective and it wants to be connected to you. It's like we have all these intuitive centers, right? We know about this one, you know about your heart, your nipples, but we forget about the vagina. And it is such an impressive intuitive center. Listen to it. Also, doing root lock will really help you stay connected to the vagina and give you a capacity that you'll feel much more connected to it. When you aren't connected, we just talked about that, you feel like empty and zero. Why? Because you did things against the wisdom of that vagina, right? And what is the neutral of this? It's the most powerful. Isn't this interesting? We start up here, we go all the way down. This is the one that is, everything is the same to you. You become so totally the essence of neutral when you're in this neutral. It's like comings and goings are all the same. If someone comes into your life, great. If they leave, fine. Why-ka-do, right? You bless them coming, you bless them going, you bless things coming and going. Sometimes we get so attached. We get attached. As human, we get attached. We get attached to people, we get attached to things. There's this whole attachment parenting. But the truth of it is you want to be connected. The difference between connected and attached is vast. It's like the difference between judgment and discernment, right? Judgment is, I got you, I'm gonna put you in a box, you do this, Discernment means I see what it is that you're doing, and I'm not choosing to be a part of that, or I am choosing to be a part of that. I get it. Same thing with attachment and connection. Attachment is like, it's grasping. It's like you can't leave me, or I must have you. And connection is, I will be connected to you, whether you are still with me physically or mentally or not. I am connected to you because I understand this connection. Yes? And it's priceless. So those are the 11 centers, okay? Now, men, I want to give you some tips. I heard this one woman, she was so cute when she came to one of my classes. It was so lovely. She said, my husband has 3 things, and he tries those 3 things. Whatever the mood that I'm in, he tries each one of them. And it's so cute. And the rest of the women said, really? My husband doesn't have anything that he tries when I'm, except to get away from me. So man, I'm going to tell you a secret, right? When women are acting like crazy, 2 things. One is she wants you to listen to her. And if you listen the first time she says something, then she doesn't have to repeat it. The more she repeats something, the crazier she gets, because you are not doing the one thing that she needs to be listened to and to be seen. Okay, so just to tell you that you don't want to add to going over the cliff. The other thing is, it's something I call hug the bitch. Okay, sounds really horrible, but it means when women are going off and they're being, really like, go up and hug her, encompass her, that's what I'm saying. Get bigger than that which she is like having a hard time with, and just tell her how much you love her. I promise you, try it. Just try it and see what happens, okay? I'm gonna tell you a story about somebody, this man I love and I work with and teach with often. He said he did that to his wife one time, and she said she didn't come that day, down that evening, but the next day she came back to him and she said, thank you so much. That was so great. I was just totally off, but that's really what I needed. So I promise you, good stuff will come. Okay, and that is one that you can apply to almost every one of these. It's like, since we just have such a short time here, it's like we're more than halfway finished already. So I want to give you a couple of tools. And like I said, I'm going to give you a chance to, come on this more deeply with me. Okay, so how do you figure out these moon centers? It doesn't go like that through everyone, right? Do you understand that? It's like, through me, it may be nipples, nape of the neck, clitoris, eyebrows. For you, it may be hairline, lips, earlobes, vagina. Everybody moves in a different pattern. So how do you figure this pattern out? Really, really important. There's a few tools you need. You need a friend, preferably not your husband or your partner, and I'll tell you why. Because I've had at least 3 of those partner-husband categories come up to me and say, in different ways, is there really 11 centers? Or is it possible that my wife or partner can be stuck in one of them all of the time? Like, no, it's not possible. It's possible that you're not tuning into the subtleties. So, man, I really want to give you more tools. And I want you to know that I have 3 hours of videos for you to watch and get a whole bag of tools. If we could teach this stuff in grade school, it would be so great. Okay, so what you need first is you need a friend, preferably not a partner or husband. And you need, with this friend, to connect with them every day, preferably in the morning, and just say, well, this is what I think that I'm in. This is the center I think I'm in today. Okay, and let them say which one they think you're in. Now, you have to talk for a few minutes before you can figure out what the other person's center is for that day, probably. And if they're really a good friend, they're going to understand. If you start talking like, I just can't deal with this, I don't want to go to work today, just like, they can ask you like one question, they can help you figure out where you are. And if you say, wow, I just cannot wait to get into this project today, it's like, I really get what I need to do with it. It's like, okay, you're either in your navel or your inner thighs, right? They can tell right away by how you speak. So a friend, speak to that friend. First meditate, and then you'll find out that you will intuitively understand at the end of your meditation what center you're in. The other thing is, in the book, you have this chart, okay? If you have a pendulum, and if you don't, get a pendulum, and get one that really resonates with you, right? That has a, just has something that says, ooh, this is mine. And then all you have to do with that pendulum is figure out what your yes is and your no. How do you do that? You say yes, and you see how it moves. And then you wait and you stop it. And then you say no, and you see how it moves. It's not the same for everyone, so you want to get your yes and your no with your pendulum. Okay. You can get these at so many stores now. You can get them on Amazon. There's all sorts of places you can get them, right? And all you do with that pendulum is you just take it and you put the book this way and you let it go, and it will tell you which one you're on with the pendulum. Now, you also need something else. You need an outline of a woman's body that you can put somewhere, and every day you take it 1 month, one colored marker. So this month is green, right? I'm gonna mark each day that I think I am, day 1. Okay, you're gonna start with your day 1. I think I'm in my nipples today. You're gonna put a little green X there and you put number 1 next to it. And then you go through each day where you think you are. And if some days you think like, I'm in my neck, and then you come back, 6 days later, you're going to my neck again. Think about it. You can put it here, but also think about some subtlety that maybe you're missing, okay? You're not gonna have 2 of one center in that, 28-day cycle. It's not an 11-day cycle, it's a 28-day cycle, right? So 1 color marker. Then the next month, you're gonna do a separate page, and you're gonna do a different color marker, and you're gonna do the same thing. And you may find that it looks exactly the same as your first month, or it may look really different. And then you're gonna do a 3rd month, okay? This will take you all of like 3 minutes max every day to do, by doing your pendulum after your meditation and then marking it. And then when you talk to your friend, you can use a different color marker and put her or his understanding of where you are. So it means you get to talk to your friend every day for a couple of minutes, and you'll do this for 3 months. At the end, a pattern is going to emerge, and that will be your pattern for basically the rest of your life, unless you have some huge trauma that will throw it off. But once you have that, you have it. And then you know, and then you can look and you can go, it is day 3 of my 11 moon centers, my 28-day cycle. You're gonna look at that and you're gonna go, this is the gift of the nipples. Oh my goodness. Super talkative, and I can talk to inspire people. Great day to do a webinar. Great day to do a Google Hangout, right? Great day to be teaching. Great day to schedule a workshop. So you can look at this out and you can plan this out months ahead of time, so you can plan all the things that you want to do with the empowered states of these, and then you know how to get into the empowered states. Yes? Okay. So I'm really big into the fact that right now, the thing that I hear the most from people are 2 things. 1 is, I don't have enough time. And 2 is, how do I turn my brain off? How do I get my mind to shut up, calm down, be at peace? I'm really big into 90-second to 3-minute things that you can do all during the day, because doing a meditation in the morning, even if you do one in the morning and night, there's a lot of hours and things that happen during the day that you sometimes need to get yourself really back to here, right? This is one of those things that you can do that will help you in any center, and I'm going to tell you why. Inhaling in a sipping breath just calms your parasympathetic nervous system down, right? Do you know what that is? That's the one that goes, ah, I can receive, I can relax, I can be inside of myself, I can know, right? It's the thing that clears away the chaos. Your sympathetic nervous system is the one that says, go, do, It's the one that we run on most of the time. So the consciousness of this beautiful, beautiful capacity to know, I have this beautiful way, sipping breath. And the wonderful thing is, you can do this during the day, anytime. You can go in the bathroom, you can do this sitting at your desk, you can do it in the car, you can do it wherever, whenever you want. Nobody has to know you're doing it. It's got a very little sound to it, just You have to have your mouth open just a little bit. And then if you're by yourself, or you're in a place where you can do this part. If you're not, you're going to exhale the same way. You're just going to just do. Or you can even do and exhale out your nose. And I'm going to tell you a really powerful thing that you can do. Just do it until you feel your whole navel expand, your chest, your navel, everything, right? And then exhale in 8 parts so you can release the stress. That's what shuts us down. That's what takes us into the challenged aspect of these centers, right? So you can exhale out the nose or out the mouth and just do 8-part exhale. So 8 is that sign of infinity. 8 is that. It's called an ashtanga mantra, an ashtanga breath, and it's that one that gets you back to neutral. So it's very simple. During the day, you need to get to the empowered state of whichever one. This is why I'm giving you this tool right now, because you can use this for any of them. Just let's just do it 3 times together. Close your eyes and just inhale deeply. Hold the breath in. Look at your third eye and exhale. Now, how is that for 3 times? Do you feel more relaxed and in tune? I promise you, it will just make you go, ah, yeah. Okay, yes, I can do this. So, you know the moon centers now, right? You know how to chart yourself so that you can get your moon centers. That's the important part, that you know yours. And then I'm going to tell you something else that I do regularly. Okay, your breathing is one of the fastest ways that you can get back. That's why I taught you that. To you, to the essence of you. And sometimes just sitali breath. Do you know sitali breath? Stick your tongue out. Go in the bathroom and do that. It's so great. Okay. Exhale out your nose. Just. And if you need more energy, breath of fire. Now, the thing that I've seen over and over and over again teaching is that a lot of people reverse breathe, which means when you inhale, you pull your diaphragm in. When you inhale, you want to get big, you want to get huge. You're allowing the universe to come into you. You are the balloon, the universe is filling you up. So when you inhale, everything gets fat. Your chest gets fat, your diaphragm, your sides, your ribs expand, right? Everything gets really huge and lovely and open and full. When you exhale, think of it, it's a release. You're letting go of whatever's in there that you no longer need, right? It's a new tenant. You're inviting a new tenant, a much more upgraded, up-leveled tenant in. Yes? So breath of fire is that place where you can just very rapid, diaphragmatic, continuous breath, but it's powerful. You're pumping your diaphragm consciously. So it's just, powerful, 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 powerful breathing, yes? And that is a way to get a lot of energy. We're gonna do that in just a minute, but first I wanna read this to you. How you can stop during the day, this amazing thing that you can do is stop and read something. Stop and read something that elevates you. And I say all the mystic poets, fabulous, okay? The mystic poet means someone that has really found their connection to the divine. I had somebody say to me yesterday, I'm really afraid of surrender. I just don't think it's a good thing. I will tell you, surrender is the best thing. Our fear of surrender is what keeps us from doing anything. Bowing. If you have my flip charts, put your fingers on your desk, inhale up, exhale down. It will change your cerebral spinal fluid. It will wash your brain out. It will allow you to bow. When you bring your head from here to here, what happens? Your head bows to your heart. So much of the time we want to pull our heart up to our head. No, your head needs to bow to the heart. They need to be connected, both powerful, but your head needs to know that the heart is in charge. The vastness of who you are is in charge, okay? And when you're afraid of surrendering, I'm gonna tell you this great story about surrender, okay? This teacher said to his pupil, I have taught you everything that I know, and you need to go out into the jungle, you will find your next teacher. And the student didn't want to leave, and he didn't want to go, and finally he did, and he went out, and the first person he met, he said, oh, you're my teacher. And the guy said, I'm not. I'm a robber. And the guy said, you know, in India, the teachers are like, they don't want to take you on. And they put you through all sorts of hideous challenges to get you to a place where they really know you're serious. And then they will teach you one little thing, and then they'll make you clean the toilets and do all this kind of stuff, and then they'll teach you one more little thing till they really get that you're willing to do it. So they put you through tests all the way through. So this guy said, look, I am a robber. And the student wouldn't let him alone. He followed him everywhere. He goes, you are ruining my whole thing, my game. You're not just, I can't be on top of my game with you trailing behind me. I do this alone. Go away. And after a while, he realized the guy was not going to leave him alone. The student was like on him. He said, okay, this is what you do. He said, you just stand here and you stretch your arms up like this until God comes to you. And he left him. And the guy said, okay. And he did that until he was liberated. And he came out of the jungle, totally liberated. And he sat down and he started just talking to whoever was there. And as it became known that he was this radiant being, people gathered around him and gave him money and all this kind of stuff. And he just, you know, he would travel and do this. And one day he looked up from where he was teaching and all these people were there. And he goes, there's my teacher. And everybody looked and they were like, we all know that he's a robber. And he goes, no, he's my teacher. He took all of his money and he put it at the feet of this guy on this horse. And the man said, what are you doing, holy man? He said, you're my teacher. He goes, no, I'm nobody's teacher. He said, no, you did this to me. This is what happened. You said God will come. God came. I am totally with God. And the dacoit burst into tears, the robber, got off his horse, bowed down to the man, and became his student. Okay? Surrender. If you surrender, as Yogi Bhajan used to say, if you can't see God in all, you can't see God at all. Surrender, practice surrendering to the moment, to the truth that's in that moment. So I'm going to share this with you, okay? This little poem. I love Hafiz, I love Rumi, I love Mary Oliver, I love, so many poets. I can't think of them all now, but this is, what happens when your soul begins to awaken? Your eyes and your heart and the cells of your body to the great journey of love. First, there's wonderful laughter and probably precious tears and hundreds of sweet promises and those heroic vows that no one can ever keep. But still, God is delighted and amused that you tried to be a saint. What happens when your soul begins to wake up in this world to the deep need to love and serve the friend? Oh, the beloved will send you one of his wonderful wild companions like Hafiz. Okay, that's the deal. Have things around that you can pick up that will actually support you and take you in a couple of moments into your more elevated state, your positive or your neutral aspect of these gifted centers that are yours. And now I'm going to tell you how you get to do more of this with me. Okay, are you interested in doing more of this with me? Do you want to know this deeper? But do you want to do what's really important? Do you want to teach this yourself? Yogi Bhajan said, if you want to know something, read it. If you want to really learn something, write it. If you want to master it, teach it. How do you master it? Teach it, share it with others, get their feedback, understand how you can do it more powerfully and more beautifully the next time. So I am inviting you in for the first ever Moon Center certification program. And I'm so happy, I don't even have to say the link, because Brian, my wonderful web guy, who I will share with you if you need him, has the link right on here that you're going to be able to just press and follow me, okay? Follow me into this certification, because what the certification means is that you will know about these moon centers intrinsically. We're going to do 90 days. Do you know that 40 days, some of you know this and some of you don't, 40 days you can break a habit, 90 days you can create a totally new habit, right? 120 days you can solidify that. But we're going to do this for 90 days. Over a period of 90 days, you get to do this with me. And you'll be, by the end, you'll be certified and you'll have so much support. We're going to have 6 calls, group calls, 2 private calls with me. You're going to have 9 hours of video, 6 for women, 3 for men, a cookbook, a digital book, you know, flip charts. You're going to have so much support, and a Facebook group where you can talk with each other, and I'll come in and answer questions, but you're going to answer questions with each other too. It's going to be so exciting. I'm so into this. It downloaded. Where I woke up one morning and I was like, shh, this is what you need to do. Certify people to do this, so that I just taught this at Satnam Fest, which was so wonderful. If you haven't been, go. And we had such a delicious time. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to teach this certification program. Come and be with me in this. And like several women went, I'm going to be there. So I will tell you, if you said yes, this is your time. We're going to do this together, and I'm really excited about this. And on the 20th, I'm going to do a call for everyone. This is a bonus call for everyone who wants to be in this, who has questions, who hasn't made up their mind yet. Okay. So now what I want to do is, if you have any questions, just type them in, and my wonderful web guy will send them to me by text, and I will answer them. If you don't want them done online, out loud now, what you can do is you can just say, you know, answer this in email, and I will do that. And then remember that we get to be together on the 20th again, so that you can ask me any questions that you have about this. But please, please go to the sales page, read over it, understand what it is, what you get. Feel free to email me. You know, if you can't be on that call, I am happy to be here to answer any questions, because this is such a powerful science. And I want you to actually understand this science, be able to integrate it in your life, so that you understand the gift and the power of each moon center within yourself. Because let's face it, right now, you can't teach stuff that you don't know and that you don't use. That was the Piscean age. We're not there anymore, right? You've got to live it. You've got to do it. And in order to do that, it has to be integrated inside of you to be able to do that. So yes, I want you to say yes, 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 yes. And if you have any challenges saying yes, I want you to connect with me to understand what those challenges are. I'm going to look and see if I've got any texts from Brian. Okay, we still have a few more minutes, so I'm going to give you just a couple of things that you can do in some of these moon centers. And I promised you men that I would give you some things in women. Please feel free to share these with men. Okay, so there's things that you can do for women, and there's certain times that it will really be wonderful. Men, if you don't already meditate, meditating with women is so important. You know, my book, The Slice of the Beloved, is all about what happens is when we come home from our days, we come home at different places, and trying to find each other is sometimes really challenging, you know, trying to find, and I said men, but truthfully, it's like, if you're in a relationship with other women, it's like knowing how to support the other partner when they're having a challenge, and understanding where that challenge is in terms of the moon centers will give you tips on the tools to use, right? So coming home, and when you first come home, if you do something together energetically, right, that will help immensely no matter what center the woman is in. And one of the most fun things to do is to just interlace your fingers with each other. So, you know, you and your partner, you and your husband, you and your wife, you and your whatever. Take your hands out to the side and just come up on your toes. You're standing, obviously. And then you're going to say who. So you're going to just do, open your eyes really wide, look at each other. When you open your eyes like that, it activates your pituitary, your third eye. See each other really deeply. And then come down, do close your eyes, right? It'll clear your magnetic field. It'll connect you in through your hands, all those nerve endings that get into your heart. And it'll make you laugh sometimes by just going, all right, you'll find that you just laugh and you'll get into the same place. So it's how to do that in like 90 seconds as opposed to a couple hours trying to find each other and being frustrated and not having the patience, and it'll give you energy, which is always a great thing to have, isn't it? Yes? So that's one thing. And men, just meditating with women. Sometimes, you know, when she's having a really challenging time feeling her own self-worth, do something yummy for her. Run a bath. Put yummy essential oils in it. You know, make it wonderful for her. If she's feeling like challenged her self-worth, or she's feeling like she can't communicate, do something that makes her feel loved. Whatever that loved is for her. I recommend that couples, at a time when they're not feeling stressed, sit down and tell each other what it does that makes them feel loved. You know, and listen to the other person. Don't say, oh, really that? Take it in and know that when they're having a challenge time, do that. That thing that they asked for, that they told you. This makes me feel loved. This makes me feel more whole and connected. Okay, so those are just some tips, men, that will really help you to feel like, okay, I can help her when she's feeling like this, as opposed to all I want to do is get away from her, or I want to fix it. I just want her to not feel like that anymore, right? And women, you know, with our friends, we have the capacity to tune in and to, you know, hear in their voices, okay, she's having a really challenged day. This isn't a good time to bring this up. This is a really good time to tell her, I get that. And then, you know, it's like you've got to meet the person where they are before you can elevate them. Sometimes we just want to elevate it and make it all better. No, meet them where they are and then take them to where you know they can be, right? Into that empowered state. Yogi Bhajan used to say, poke, provoke, confront, and elevate. Sometimes we do the poke, provoke, and confront, we forget the elevate. And so when you poke somebody, sometimes you have to poke them very gently so that you can find out where they are. That's the poking, it's the probing, it's the probing, it's the trying to figure out where really. In these centers, it'll help you to have the where, okay? And doing the certification will get you to understand, oh my God, I get this, so I can give this. And that's the legacy we want to leave, right? I want every woman and man to understand this science, so it's so much easier. Can you imagine if little girls really got like, I have tools. I so want to have an app for teens. Can you imagine if teen girls in all of their doing everything could, you know, say, what moon center do you think you're in today? Could you imagine how different? And having a meditation, a thing that it could do to understanding about food, you know, food, we didn't even talk about that, but that's a whole thing. The food that we sometimes eat when we're feeling challenged that makes us, you ever notice that caffeine and sugar never makes you feel like better after you have it? Maybe for like, 10 minutes, but then after that, it lets you down like a bad lover. So all of these things are going to be in this course. I promise you, it's going to be so deep and yummy, and you're going to have the chance with your community, your tribe, that you will be empowered and feel really that you have the platform to share this from deeply. So please click the link below, join me on this. It's going to be such a wonderful journey, and I can't wait to have you there with me. So thank you for hanging out with me. Bless you, and I can't wait to do more of these. Satnam, you are the best.